Welcome to Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I'm Marty. Everyone having a prosperous and productive week? We've been discussing how there's so many ways to break into the operations fields, all the different kind of get our foot in the door positions, and how we can target our employers or the companies we'd like to work with, capitalizing on our career goals. Something that came up this week was, those new gig apps out there. Something relatively new, but you've probably heard someone that's been talking about them. Basically, you download an app that employers post job assignments on. Usually for fill-in or special assignment tasks that they need someone to work a day or two. Maybe something where little to no training is going to be involved. They just have some things that need to get done. We're seeing them branch out into general labor assignments now too. I think the warehousing industry is starting to recognize them. I know a couple of facilities experimenting with them for unloaders, pallet runners, and even order selectors. Of course, as with anything new, it'll take a while to collect enough data to see how efficient the program is going to work out, but it sounds like a good idea, right? Last week, we talked about the importance of part-time positions, how they fit for a lot of us, the employees' needs, and how profitable they can be for our employers as well. Maybe these gig assignments can carry those efficiencies on to the next step. While I was out and about, just checking in on some different operations, I asked around a bit, just bringing the subject up in conversation with frontline supervisors and leads. And I did the same with the next level of management, managers, directors, and vice presidents, and surprisingly, I received two different opinions on them. The frontline teams really saw no interest in them at all. Well, at first they didn't. Now, it's important we remember these are the guys and gals that are responsible for getting things done. The doors closed every day, and all the training that goes along with a new boot on the floor. The first things I heard were concerns with productivity, error ratios, and safety, of course. Their question was, how are we supposed to spend time on an orientation, going over all the safety procedures and company rules with an employee that is brought in knowing they are not looking for full-time employment and may only be with us for a day or two? Those are all valid points. But we'll come back to that in just a moment. Now, the managers, directors, and vice presidents all found interest with the ideal and wanted to know a little bit more about the different programs that are out there. And think about it. On the surface, there's quite a few pros with the ideal. Something like this may be great for when an associate calls in sick. Simply post to the app that you need someone for the day. A pre-screened and qualified task experienced person clicks accept and is at your facility within the hour. Or say you have a special assignment, something like moving some racking around or recalibrating the available cube with a lot of your slots and just need someone to raise or lower a lot of crossbars. You would post the job to the app and someone that has done that type of work before clicks accept and shows up for the shift the next day. Now, both scenarios we just mentioned are temporary needs. Wouldn't the app be a great tool to have and be more efficient than using a temporary agency? And then I heard quite a bit from them regarding cost. Every one of them wanted to know more about how the billing worked, rates and wages, those kind of things. And what about us as employees? Well, we all need to work. Like we discussed last week, we could have other responsibilities that prevent us from working a full-time job. Or sometimes we just need a little part-time position to fill in, too many of our off hours. Maybe we can only work on the weekends. These new gig jobs or app jobs may be perfect to fill those needs. Regarding the two examples we just talked about, let's say the gentleman that called in sick was with the sanitation department. The ad is posted to the app, and I have 5 years' experience in warehouse sanitation, and I'm only working 3 days a week at my regular job. Today I'm off, so I click accept, show up, perform the task, and the day's pay shows up in my account the following morning. Or maybe I'm between jobs right now and I see that you're looking for someone to help unbolt, move, and replace crossbars for a few days. I've done that before, so I hit accept on my phone and work for you until the task is complete. Sure sounds like a win for us employees to me. So like I said, this discussion came up last week and I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. I spoke with a company utilizing the gigs in 4 different states and 6 cities. Some locations have seen great success while others do struggle a little bit. From what I gathered, and it makes perfect sense when you think about it, it could be a region thing or a location thing. And, that can really come into play when looking for experienced and available talent. If I'm posting for an experienced electric rider jack operator, and I want him to do some pallet running for me, but we're in a town that only has 2 industrial facilities, there may not be a person with that experience that's not working right now. Hence, there'll be no one to accept my post. I wanted to know how to apply, so I asked a few questions, and it's pretty simple actually. All I'd have to do is build a profile in one of the many different apps out there, list my past experiences, any equipment I've used before, along with giving myself a grade on how proficient I was on it, and give them a direct deposit routing number to an account to deposit my earnings into. I liked how I could even give them numbers to any non-conventional banking apps as well. It's really just like filling out an application. Now someone is going to give us a call, an interview I guess you could say, really just to verify that we can perform the task that we listed on our application. And the kicker here is that our assignments will be rating us on how well we perform the tasks that they assign to us. Which is really great because if an employer is looking for someone through a post, I'm certain they would rather choose a pallet runner with 5 stars using the equipment over someone with only 2 stars. So lesson 1 would be to be successful with the gigs, we'll need to be honest on the application. I spoke with 7 people that's working the gigs and all of them have loved the experience. Everyone brought up, the being paid the next day is a huge plus. Now, a couple of them did get in a little over their heads, maybe exaggerating a little on their profile, and immediately went back and fixed it. They all felt like you needed to do everything that you can to keep at least a 4-star rating so that you will get picked for the assignments. So let's go back to those concerns, those very valid concerns that our frontline leads and supervisors had. One of their biggest concerns was training and safety. Taking even half of a shift, to train a gig employee on how to do the job. And I mentioned how at first, they had no interest hearing about the programs. After pointing out how you wouldn't necessarily post for all of the positions in your facility, but how something like this may be the perfect fit for others, most of them opened up a little bit. We need to remember these individuals aren't actually new boots to warehousing. They know all of the safety regulations and how to perform the task in general. We will need to cover any company-specific rules with them, and yes, we need to give them an orientation to our building, like the evacuation routes, the gathering areas outside, where the eye wash stations are, and things like that, but not necessarily a full-blown orientation to our company. We're going to be working beside them for a few days, though, and I feel we do have to make them feel welcomed. We brought them in because we needed them, and we should treat them with the same respect we do everyone else. After speaking with companies utilizing these services and the employees using them for employment, I'm feeling pretty good about them, and I believe we're going to see more and more of them pop up. Another great thing about them is we can give a prospective employer a test run. See how their organization is ran. Maybe learn if we'd like to work for them on a permanent basis. I learned that 7 of the gig workers did receive full-time offers and have taken positions with the different companies that had used them a few times. So I think we need to add these job service apps or gig work programs to our list of how to get our foot in the door positions. Well, there's a little on what I learned last week. You may know someone that should check them out. I think they can be pretty useful. And if any of y'all have worked through a service app before, please send us an email to host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com and let us know how it worked out for you. If you'd like a little more information on gig work, start a feed on our Facebook or Twitter pages where you can find us using that little @ WHSEANDOPS. Well, thanks for stopping in today, and please ask a friend to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or any of their favorite podcatchers. Until next week, be prosperous, productive, and please be safe in all that you do.